Just as any other media, there are times and places for using video, and times and places where you should use something else. It all depends on how learning takes place, how people learn. Central to learning is what is now called working memory, proposed by several people such as Badley, Hitch, Cohen, Erickson, Kench, and Miller. So what is working memory? It's a cognitive function, or the function of the brain, to temporarily hold, process, and manipulate information in your brain. For example, try calculating this in your head. When you try calculating this in your head, not on a piece of paper, you're using your working memory. You're mentally holding and manipulating these numbers. Okay, the answer is 196. Okay, now, how about doing this in your head? It's harder, isn't it? According to the currently most supported theory about working memory, we can hold up to 4 or 5 elements of new information at one time. Think of it as you only have 4 or 5 slots in your brain where you can hold chunks of information. Because of this limited capacity, you can only hold 4 or 5 chunks of information simultaneously. There are some tricks you can play to sort of increase the capacity, but generally speaking, to process more chunks of information, you would have to move it out and put a new chunk in. Move the old chunk out and put the new chunk in. Move the old chunk out, put a new chunk in. Move the old chunk out and put the new one in. And this is what you have to do with your brain. So how does it relate to instructional video? The video can take some burden off your working memory when what you're trying to explain has high element interactivity. In other words, when many elements have to be processed together simultaneously, such as when you try to teach how to drive a car, for example. Learning to speak a foreign language or comprehend a spoken foreign language also requires high element interactivity as well. So what other things can you think of that involve high element interactivity in your field? Without the use of video, the learners will have to visualize and process the element interactions in their head while continuing to hold them in their head. Doing so is really tasking to working memory. So with video, you're letting the learner delegate some of the mental tasks to the video. The video is doing some of the mental tasks for the learner. For one thing, the learner won't have to hold the visual image, visual representations in their head anymore because it keeps coming in from the video. In my opinion, this is where video or any visual aid is most useful in instruction. There are also motivational factors, psychological impact, and other factors. So try to keep these things in mind when you create instructional videos. So this is a summary of when to use video for instruction. If you have any questions, let me know.